Oh, hey guys. Today we're going to do a quick screen replacement for a Dell model number 15 5559. It's a Dell Inspiron 15 5559 model. Um, with this client here, when they brought me the system, they weren't really sure what was going on, so I thought maybe it might have just been you might it just might require a hard reset. I tried to do that by unplugging the battery, holding the power button down for about 30 to 40 seconds, plugging the battery back in, plugging in the charger, and trying to power up the system. I noticed the system did power on, but I couldn't see anything at all, and there was no lighting that showed up on the screen. So I really didn't think it was a broken screen, because a lot of, like, 95% of the times when my client brings in a system with a broken screen, it normally powers up. Then you see a bunch of cracks or discoloration or rainbow colors on the screen itself. But in this case here, there was absolutely nothing. It was just a black screen. So when I had plugged in the system to an external, my external TV, I eventually did get a signal, because in the beginning I actually thought it wasn't still a messed up screen. I thought it was a motherboard, because nothing was showing up on the screen for close to about maybe 1.5 to 2 minutes, because her window was severely infected when the system was given to him, and it just took forever to boot. But then I just let it sit, and then eventually it logged into a screen. Then I knew it was a screen. Um, and at the same time, I couldn't find out what model she had with the sticker, because it was kind of scuffed off completely. So I just ran basically a service tag here checkup on this model and found out it was a Dell Inspiron 15-559 model. So if you want to find out what model yours is, and if you scuffed it off, and then your screen doesn't work, you can also just type in this model number here, the service tag on Dell's website. So this one here is DH6 TFC2. So I'll give you an example here. This is all you have to do is just go to, you know, uh, open up a new browser and just type in service tag. And when you type in service tag, you'll see Dell support page here. So when you click onto that, it'll just ask you to enter a service tag or an express service code. So I already have the service tag for this client here, which is the DH6 TFC2. They type that in, and as you will see, it identifies it as a Dell Inspiron 15. It's actually, the full model is a Dell Inspiron 15, which the 15 stands for the 15.6 inch LCD size, and Dell Inspiron 15-5559. So once you put that into the through the your database, of laptop screens, where I normally get my screens from, because they're the largest supplier around the world. They have many branches in Canada and the US. So, but the whole thing is, going back to this model here, when I did a search for it, there's a lot of different types of screens available for this, because as you can see here, some are it has the one cell touch display, with the 40 pin cable connector, which the resolution is 1366 by 768. And I think it also has another touch that's also a 1920 by 1080, and with the 40 pin as opposed to a 30 pin. Sorry, they were both 40 pins, but they have different resolutions, 1366 by 768, and then the other touch screen is a 1920 by 1080, which you see down here. And also in the 1366 by 768, the non-touch versions, they both come in a 30 and a 40 pin. So so I would really recommend. Let me take a look here. Sorry, in the 30 pin for the non-touch, it comes in a 1920 by 1080 and a 1366 by 768. So this is one thing that you don't want to guess. So the only way for you to know exactly what you really need is you have to. I'll show you. Go back here. So once you remove the screen, I'll take you through the whole disassembly process. But if you are looking for the part number, this is what you really need. So this is the only way of knowing 100% what screen you will need for this screen replacement. So don't just order any type of screen you see on that page that I've shown you here. You need to type in this LP156WHB TPA2 in brackets. And once you've done that, it will actually identify, laptop screens will let you know exactly what screen you will need for your specific Dell Inspiron 15-5559, as you can see here. So what we'll do is we'll go through the disassembly process. I just ordered the screen for my client, so we won't be putting it in today, but it's very simple to put in, because if you can disassemble the original piece, you'll know how to put in the new piece once you get the part, or if you already have the part. Um, so I'll go to the disassembly process here. So this is that's the service tag here. Like I said, if you need that for Dell's website, this is where you can identify it. There should be a sticker on the bottom side of your laptop, and you just type in whatever your special letters and numbers that you have as a combination. So if you flip it upside down here, as you can see here, the battery is external, which is a pretty good model, because a lot of the newer models are all internal, which is a pain in the ass. Even when you want to upgrade your hard drive, you don't have to really disassemble the whole bottom end. All you can see is just remove one screw here, one screw there, and your hard drive will most likely either be in there. It might not be there, because by the looks of it, it could be right here. But then again, when you look at your disassembly process for this, it doesn't look that complicating at all. But the hard drive could be in this compartment also, and the RAM might be here. We're not doing this for the hard drive upgrade, so what we'll do is we're just going to do this for the screen replacement. So going back to this, as you can see here, there's a lever here. This is if you want to remove that battery, all you do is you click on your slider. Just remember, my cursor is the guide for you guys for me to show you what you need to do. So if you want to unlock the battery, just slide it to the right, and the battery will lift up about by 2 to 3 millimeters. And I'll show you here. You just slide it to the right here, and then as you can see here, it just pops up, and then you can just lift it and remove it. And I looked at this model carefully too, because I saw some other people removing the assembly with pick tools. But let's say if you didn't have a pick, your fingernails is perfectly fine there. So when I felt around all of the areas in this, the plastic bezel that was covering the screen, the safest and the easiest area for you to open it up, even without using any type of pick tool, your fingernails will be perfectly fine. I use my fingernails, and I just cut my nails, and it still opens this up really easily. It's usually my index and my thumbnail is usually the one that guides on the outside to open it all up. So if you look at it carefully here, I use my index finger, and then I kind of brace the outside of the plastic with my thumb, and just pull gently from the inside and lift it up a little bit. So once you're able to do that, all you really need to do is you can actually, once you have that lifted, oh sorry, I didn't rotate this one here. So this is just another closer shot of me showing you how to just lift the top right hand corner very carefully. And once you've done that, as you can see, it lifts up very easily, because if you look at the top end here, the fasteners are better clamped down, because it's a thicker piece, it's a wider piece, as opposed to the left and right side of the front plastic bezel, which is a lot more thinner, and then it's easy to lift. And if you look at it here, once I've actually lifted this part, it was already lifted from the previous picture, you can easily just run your thumbnail on the outside of it and easily just lift up the edge. As you can see here, this was my first, like insert with my fingernail, and it just lifted up very easily. So all you have to do is you can run your thumbnail downwards to open up way down to the bottom, and then you just literally run it to the top left, from the top right to the top left hand corner, and then run it down on the left side going downwards with your left thumb, with your left hand, with the thumbnail, and it removes very easily. And once this is the bottom left here, and this is the easy part too, if you if you want for you to remove the bottom part of the front bezel, just put your fingernails in at the bottom left hand corner or the bottom right, and just gently pull it out towards you. And as you can see, your fasteners will just unclamp itself, and then it'll come off really easy. And just to make sure that you don't break this hinge cover, the best thing to do is to put your index finger, this is a demonstration here, on the right side of your front right bezel, the screen cover. Just put your index behind it, brace it, and then just wiggle it a little bit, and it will come right off easily. And then you do the same thing with the left hand side. And I'll show you another picture here, just another angle. As you can see here, I just literally wiggle it very lightly, and it just comes off very easily. You don't have to fight with this model, which is awesome. And once you've done that, just remove the front bezel cover, the screen cover, and then you should see it like this. And for you to remove the screen here, it's very simple. If you look carefully here, there's a screw there, one in each corner of the assembly, one there, one at the bottom right, and the bottom left. And you just make sure that you just remove that screw. So there's one in each corner, just remove those screws there. And for you to lift this up, easily so that nothing falls or anything, just go in the top left or the top right hand corner and put your fingernail, because this looks like this before we had lifted up, right? So when you remove this screw, it's completely resting on the back tab of this top left hand corner. But once you put your fingernail in between these two pieces here, as you can see, it just lifts up very carefully. And do the same thing on the right side, and just gently move it, lift it up towards you, and just face it downwards and on your keyboard. So once you've done that, on the top left hand corner, you will see I think this was a 30 pin cable. Let me go back to this here, because I had to order it for my customer here. He didn't have a touch screen, and it wasn't a 1920 by 1080. So this is a screen I actually had ordered for my client here. This one here, it was a 1366 by 760. So when I put in the part number from the one that I had shown you, it ended up being this one here. It wasn't a 1920 by 1080 resolution. That was a non-touch. It was actually just a standard, probably that the lower line models a 1366 by 768 resolution. So to remove this cable here, I use my paring knife here just to start off to lift up the tape, because it's kind of difficult because it's really sticky. So once you just score that little corner there, just use your fingernail and lift up carefully. And don't lift it up really fast, because if you lift it too fast, because you want to reuse this. This is reusable. It's very easy. You don't need to use a new tape or anything, because it's a really sticky tape. And a lot of times, if I do have a cheap, tape that's been used on some other models, I will actually add additional tape to re-secure the area. But with this one here, you don't need to. Just pull it off very slowly, and you will be able to reuse this tape. So once that's been done, as you can see here, this is what it looks like once it's been done. But don't disconnect the cable yet, because if you look carefully here, follow my cursor here, there's a latch lock here that secures your cable so that nothing pops out. Because a lot of models, to be honest with you, I've done thousands and thousands of screens, and a lot of the models don't have these latch locks, which is really shitty, because they all should have these latch locks to secure it, so that if you don't end up using tape anyways, your cable ain't going anywhere, because this latch here in this lock position will keep your cable in place. So for you to remove it, all you have to do is just put your fingernail at this top end here, where it looks like kind of a rusty color here. Just put your thumbnail or your fingernail or anything and just lift it up. And this is the lifting up, the lifted position here. As you can see, you just lift it up with your thumbnail and just unlock it, bring it straight up to the top, unlock it, and just pull the 30 or 40 pin cable that you have on this model, and just and push it towards the screen this way, right upwards. And once you have that done, then you can easily just simply remove your screen and install the new one, and just follow the procedures the same way you just, just in reverse order. And it's very simple. Just make sure that you don't plug in your battery until the last thing. But once you do plug in your new screen and secured it, and put the tape back down and the latch lock back down and everything, I mean, before sealing up the whole screen assembly, just make sure you plug in your internal battery quickly, power it up, and make sure that it flashes up real good so that you see a brand new screen on there. And if that is the case, then you can go ahead and just put the screws back on the new screen, and put the front cover, the front plastic cover back onto it, and then you're good to go. I hope that helps you guys. And like I said again here, I'll leave this part number here for some of the people that might have the same model as what my client has, because this one here, he only had this part number here, LP156WHBTPA2 in brackets. This is in reference just to the 1366 by 768 30 pin connector here. So like I said again, don't just order any screen for that model thinking you can use any screen or the better screen. You can't go from a non-touch to a touch. It's just the way they're configured with these laptops. So just make sure you do get the right screen, and the only way to get the right screen is to read the part number on the back of the tag behind your screen. In a lot of other brands, a lot of times there might just be one type of screen resolution that you don't even have to guess. You can just go ahead and order it. But in this scenario here, which is different, there's 40 pins and 30 pin cables. And the 40 pins it's a little bit wider than the 30 pin, and there are touchscreen options with this too. So just make sure you identify what you have here as a tag, put that into laptopscreen.com, which is the website here, and then you can just type it in here. Then it'll tell you exactly what you need, and then you just order it. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you guys have a good weekend, and take care. Cheers.